This video is regarding the signaling and control systems in railway engineering. Signaling consists of the systems, devices and means by which the trains are operated efficiently and the tracks are used to the maximum extent, maintaining the safety of the passengers, the staff and the rolling stock. It includes the use and working of signals, points, block instruments and other equipments. The various objectives of providing the signal include it provides or facilitates the efficient movement of trains, and also it ensures safety between two or more trains which cross or approach each other's path. It also facilitates the maximum utility of the track. It again helps the train for efficient shunting operations and also to guide the train movements during maintenance and repair of the track, to safeguard the train at converging junctions and give directional indications at diverging junctions. So these were the objectives of providing signals. The signals are classified into different types depending on its characteristics. So depending on the operational characteristics or based on the way it operates, this can be classified into detonating signals. They are also known as fog or audible signals. Then there are hand signals and fixed signals. So hand and fixed signals, they are example of visual indication signals. Then based on the functional characteristics, signals can be classified based on the functions such as stop or semaphore signals, warner signal, shunting signal. Shunting signal can be either disc or ground signals. Then there can be colored light signals. Then based on the locational characteristics, in view of the position where the signals are located, this can be divided into following categories. The outer signal, home signal, starter signal and advanced starter signal, where 1 and 2, the outer signal and home signal, they comes under the reception signals, and starter and advanced starter signals, they comes under the departure signals. Then based on the special characteristics, they can be again further classified into repeater signals, routing signals, colon signals, indicators, etc. So let's first see based on the operational characteristics how they are classified. So we have seen the basic classification. They are classified into detonating signal, hand signal and fixed signal. So let's see each of them in detail. So first is the detonating signals. During the foggy and cloudy weather, when the hand or fixed signals are not visible, detonators are placed on the rails which explode with a loud sound when the train passes over them. This sound draws the attention of the driver to the proximity of the signals. From the safety point of view, the detonators must be placed on the rail at least 400 to 500 meters ahead of the signal to enable the driver to stop the train or to obey the signal. These signals consist of containers with explosives and are fixed to the rails by means of clips. So in the figure you can see the detonators, they are fixed to the rails by means of the clip. Hand signals are given either by flags fixed to a wooden handle or by bare arms when flags are not available during the daytime. Whereas during the night time, instead of flags, lamps are used in which movable glass slides of green, red and yellow shades are provided. The hand signals are generally used by guards, station masters, cabin man, gangman, keyman, point man or by any other authorized persons. The indications or the standard indication is when a red flag or a light is shown, it means it need to be stopped. Whereas if it is a green flag or light, the train can proceed safely. And whether it's a yellow light, then it need to be proceed cautiously. So these were the signal indications or the signal conventions. The third type of signal which comes under the operational characteristics classification are the fixed signals. So as the name indicates, they are fixed at a place by the side of the track and can be further subdivided into stop signal and caution indicators. So stop signals, they gives the condition of the track ahead of it. There are different types of stop signals like semaphore or colored light signals, etc. can be used for giving an indication to the driver. And there can be another type called the caution indicators. which are fixed depending upon the requirement. For example, if there is some kind of engineering work or maintenance work are going on, then that information need to be passed on to the driver by means of indication caution indicators. So the next classification is based on the functional characteristics, based on which it can be classified into either stop signal or warner signals. Then for shunting function, the shunting signals are provided. Then there can be colored light signals. So let us see that in detail. The first type of signal which comes under the functional characteristic classification is the stop or semaphore signal. This signal mechanism is so arranged that in normal position it indicates the stop position. The principle of design of semaphore signal is to show the stop position of any failure that happens to be in the apparatus. So this has got a movable arm. This is pivoted on the horizontal pin known as the spindle near the top of the post. The length of the arm is 1.2 to 1.7 meter at the and 25 centimeter to 35 centimeter wide at the outer edge. So in the normal position, this arm remains horizontal. So let's explain the working principle of the semaphore signal. The semaphore signal in India are placed on the signal post on the left hand side of the direction of movement, the train, and the movable arm that project towards a track for indicating the signal. It has got the coloring code like this. The side of the arm facing the driver is painted in red with a white vertical band, whereas the opposite side of that, instead of this red, there it is a white arm, and at the middle it has got a black band. So the facing side has got a white band on a red background. The height of the center of the arm is 7.5 meter above the ground level. It has got a weight and lever arrangement. The lever is capable of revolving about the horizontal pin that is provided. At one end, a weight is attached, and crank rod is connected to the lever through a cam. To the other end of the lever, a wire is attached, which is taken to the signal cabin after passing through the pulleys. Okay, so this weight is used to adjust the arm from the signal cabin. So this wire has been attached to the signal cabin, and from the signal cabin, by adjusting this weight, the arm of semaphore signal can be controlled from the signal cabin. So the working principle is the ordinary position of signal is horizontal, but it can be lowered to an angle by pulling the wire from the signal cabin. When the signal is in horizontal position, it is said to be in on position, which indicates stop or danger. When the signal is lowered by pulling the wire at an angle of 45 to 60 degree, it is said to be in the off position, which indicates proceed. And there is a spectacle frame. The spectacle frame is provided in the arm, and it consists of a red glass at the top and green glass at the bottom, with a lighting arrangement for signaling at night. Sometimes yellow light glass is also provided in the middle of this red and green glass. So that is all about the semaphore signal. So in the horizontal position, it indicates stop, and when it is inclined, it gives an indication to proceed. So here you can see the on position and the off position, which can be controlled by the balance weight or the weight and lever arrangement. In the on position, the semaphore arm is in the horizontal position. And it is showing a red indication, which means the train need to be stopped. So in the on position, the semaphore arm will be horizontal, which is giving a stop indication to the train. Whereas in the off position, the semaphore arm will be inclined. So it can be in two ways. One way of inclination, it can be inclined upward or it can be inclined downward. So two names are given. One is, if it is inclined upward, it is named as upper quadrant semaphore. It is inclined downward. It is called lower quadrant semaphore, but both are showing the same indication to the train locomotive pilot that they can proceed. Okay. So one is the on position, which means the semaphore arm is horizontal, and in the off position, which is indication to proceed, where the semaphore arm is inclined. Working principle of semaphore signal. So depending upon how the arm is positioned, whether it is horizontal or inclined, during daytime the signal indication is given to the driver. So if it is horizontal, it shows an on position, which means it's stop or danger. Whereas if it is in the inclined position, indicating an off position of the signal, at that time the driver can proceed, or it indicates that the line is clear. So that is regarding the daytime. Whereas night time, the arm position is not visible to the driver. So depending on the light indications, for example, if it is red light, which means it is stop or danger and the train need to be stopped, it's an on position of the signal. Whereas off position is indicated by a green light, which gives an indication to proceed, or the line is clear, or the line ahead of him, of the driver, is clear, so that the train, the driver can proceed. And if it is an yellow light, which means the driver need to proceed cautiously. So this is the working principle of semaphore signal. The next type is the Warner signal. A semaphore signal at the entrance to the station is usually combined with the Warner signal. So Warner signal, as the name suggests, the function of that is to warn the driver. So usually it is positioned ahead of the ordinary semaphore signal, or at some locations you can see it is provided at the same post where the ordinary semaphore signals are placed. So the main function is to warn the driver. The difference is that it also has a horizontal moving arm, but at the end you can see it is in the notch shape. So that is how we can differentiate the Warner signal from that of the semaphore signal. And the color scheme is also different. Here it is a black band on a yellow background. Okay. So as in the earlier case, the arm, when it is horizontal, which means it is, the signal is in the on position, indicating that the driver need to proceed very cautiously, because the signal ahead of it, that is, there will be a semaphore signal ahead of that, which is in the stop position. So when this signal is horizontal, the locomotive pilot need to proceed with precautions. Whereas if it is in the inclined position, then it is indicating that the signal ahead of that is in the off position, so that the locomotive pilot can proceed at the speed without any danger. And at night, lights are used for indicating these Warner signals. So this is an example where the Warner signal is provided in the same post as that of the ordinary semaphore signal. So in the case of Warner signal, you can differentiate that from the ordinary semaphore signal by the color scheme. In the case of semaphore signal, it is a white band on a red background, whereas in the case of Warner signal, it is a black band on a yellow background. And the shape is almost the same, only thing is there is a V-shaped notch at the free end for a Warner signal. That's how we can differentiate between a Warner signal and a semaphore signal. So here you can see an example where the Warner signal is cleft or provided in the same post as that of the semaphore signal. So let's see what are these indications meant for. If both the arms are horizontal, the first case, which gives a stop indication, or both the signals are in the on position, which means neither the approaching section is clear nor the next block section is clear. Okay, so they have to, or the train need to be stopped there. Then the third one is both these, the semaphore as well as the Warner, both are in the inclined position, which means it is a off position, which means the train can proceed. So both the station line as well as the next block section, both are clear, so that the train can proceed with the same speed. And there is something in between this where the semaphore signal is inclined but Warner signal is horizontal. So this indicates, or this is giving a caution indication. So proceed with caution. So what is that indicating? The section is clear up to next station, but the next block section is not clear. So near vicinity is clear, maybe farther ahead of that the railway line or the the track section is not clear, so that the locomotive pilot need to proceed very carefully. So that is the indication given by inclined semaphore signal with a horizontal warner signal. Next is the shunting signal. It's also called by the name disc or ground signal. It resembles the shape of the disc, that is why it's called disc signal. Okay, these signals are used for shunting operation in station yards, and therefore they are called shunting signals. They are of shape of a circular disc with a red band on a white background. The disc can revolve in a vertical plane by pulling the lever. There is a lever provided here. By pulling the lever, the disc can be adjusted. So the disc can revolve in a vertical plane by pulling the lever by hand. There are two holes provided, one for the red lamp and another for the green lamp. So the indication is when the red band is horizontal position, it shows a red light which indicates stop or the on position, whereas when the red band is inclined by 45 degree, it shows a green light indicating proceed. The horizontal position is the stop position, whereas if the red band is inclined, which indicate the proceed slow for shunting. At the night, instead of these arm positions or these band position, the lamps and colored glass are used for indicating the signal. Colored light signal. With the introduction of electric traction to meet increased traffic requirements, nowadays semaphore signals are being replaced by high intensity beam color light signals both during day and night. They may be either of two aspects, which has two colors, green and red. There can be three aspects which has green, yellow and red, and four aspects are also there which has green, yellow, red and yellow. So commonly three aspect signals are very common in Britain and USA. In such signals, special lenses are used to throw a beam of powerful light in the level of driver's eye, which can be seen even in the brightest daylight. So you can see here in the figure the front elevation as well as the side elevation of three aspect signals. The working is the red light shows a stop or on position, whereas green light means proceed or it is in the off position. Yellow or amber means it can proceed cautiously. So the normal position is off or proceed position. So that makes it different from that of the semaphore signal. So the basic difference between semaphore signaling and color light signaling is that semaphore is normally at stop or danger or on position, and when the train arrival becomes due, it is brought to inclined position to indicate proceed. But in the case of color light signals, the normal position is to indicate proceed. That is, it will be showing a green light unless the section is blocked. So when the section gets blocked, it automatically indicates stop or danger sign by the red light. So this change in indications is adopted to provide better efficiency in the movement of heavy traffic. In India, these signals are commonly used on urban and suburban sections with heavy traffic. Depending on the location characteristics, there are two types of signals, namely the reception signal and another one is the departure signal. The reception signal, these are the signals which control the reception of trains into the station. For example, if you consider this mesh to be the station limit, so the set of signals that are provided for the reception of trains into the station is what is known as the reception signal. So there are two types under which is the outer signal and the home signal. And once the trains start departing from the station, the signals which control the dispatch of train from the station, they are known as the departure signal, and there are mainly two types. One is the starter signal and another one is the advanced starter signal. In a similar way, the train coming from the other direction also, you can see first there is a reception signal which consists of one is the outer signal and home signal. Then the train reaches the station limit. And once the train leaves the station, first is go through the starting signal, and once it crosses the advanced starter signal, we can say the train is no more under the control of the station master. The reception signals are of two types. One is the outer signal and another one is the home signal. Coming on to the outer signal is provided far away from the station, thereby it's also called by the name distant signal. Okay. We can assume that the entire rail network is divided into blocks and in between there will be stations. The outer signal is the first stop signal which indicate that the train is entering from a block section to the station yard. It should be placed at an adequate distance, and this adequate distance is fixed based on the maximum allowable speed. In India, it comes equal to 540 meters for broad gauge and 400 meters for meter gauge. Generally, if it is in the stop position, then the driver must bring his train to a stop at a distance of about 90 meters before the outer signal and then proceed to the home signal with caution. And if it is in the proceed position, then the driver can take the train at normal speed, assuming that home signal is also in the proceed position. So that is regarding the outer signal. Then let's consider the home signal. But due to its location at the door of the station or very near to the station, it is termed as home signal. It is exactly placed at the station limit after the outer signal. So its function is to protect the station and junction. So sometimes you can see the bracketed arms also to indicate which line is to be used. For example, there will be a main track and when reaching the station it will be diverging into many tracks, okay, depending upon how many platforms are there or depending upon the traffic that is being managed at the station, it can be diverted into different tracks or different routes. Okay, so depending upon how many number of routes or depending upon the diverging tracks, there can be bracketed arms which is provided at the home signal. So that is being shown in this figure. There are three signals that's provided in the single post showing three diverging routes from a main track. So depending upon how the arm or depending upon how the arm is positioned, whether it is horizontal or inclined. Horizontal means the movement in that particular route is prevented or stopped, whereas if it is inclined means the movement into that particular route is permitted. Okay, so depending on that, it can proceed to that particular route. So the main function of the home signal is to protect the station and junction, or we can say that it will ensure the safety of the sidings that is already being occupied. One of the important function of this before the train enters into a particular route or into a particular track, the interlocking has to be ensured that the route is properly set before the signal arm is taken to off position. Okay, the home signals carry as many number of arms as the number of diverging lines. Operation of signal, it permits the entry of the train into the platform, and the maximum distance from the station is 180 meters. The home signal is provided at a maximum distance of 180 meters from the station. The set of signals which control the dispatch of a train is what is known as the departure signal, and there are mainly of two types. One is the starter signal and another one is the advanced starter signal. So first let's see what are starter signals. So starter signals, they are provided at the forward end of a platform. So it controls the movement of trains as they leave the station, and no train can leave the station unless it is in the proceed position. So once the starter signal shows the proceed position, then only any train can leave the station. Each line has got separate signal, or each platform or each lane or each track has got separate starter signal. Then moving on to the advanced starter signal. So besides the starter signal, for each of the station's lines from which train start, an advanced starter signal also is provided. The station limit is being considered from home signal to the advanced starter signal. So in general, advanced starter is an indication for the train that once it leaves this advanced starter signal, then it's no more the responsibility of the station master. Then there are certain special signals also. One is the routing signal. At big stations where a number of lines exist at a station, taking off different routes from the main line. So besides one main home signal, routing signals are also provided at the points of diversion. So here you can see the main line is diverted into three other tracks. So there is a side left line, there is a side right line, and there are two side right lines. So depending upon that, in which route the train to be taken, depending on that, there will be bracketed arms provided in a single post. So these are signals that will route the train into the particular route. The next type is a repeating or the coacting signal. Now assume that a train is not stopping at a station, or if it is stopping at a station, even then it comes across five signals. Okay, five signals in sequence. So before entering into the station, first of all, it will be having a warner signal, warns that there is station ahead. Then comes the outer signal, and when reaching near to the station, it has got a home signal, and then when it leaves from the station, it has got a starter signal, and finally it will be having an advanced starter signal. So it will be coming across, so the driver comes across five signals in sequence. Okay. But when the driver's vision is obstructed due to a sharp curvature, or due to some kind of like say maybe due to overbridge, or some kind of vision obstruction is there. For example, if you consider the Kollam station or the Kollam junction, the trains which are coming from the Trivandrum side, it has to undergo a sharp curve there. So because of that, sometimes the vision of the driver get obstructed. Right? In that case, a signal is provided with a duplicate arm of smaller size at a suitable position, which repeats the indication of the signal ahead. It is therefore termed as repeater signal. This signal, that is a repeater signal, is linked with the main signal, and therefore when the lever is pulled, both signals are lowered simultaneously. As these signals are working in union with the main signal, it is also called by the name co-acting signal, or also we can say that to be the duplicate signal which are provided on the same post at a lower level, so that the driver's visibility can be improved. If some kind of repair works is going on, so to call on the attention of the driver, a small and short arm will be provided just below the home signal. So that is what is known as calling on signal. Apart from the signals that we have discussed so far, there are few more temporary signals used under specific conditions, such as track control repairs, during shunting operations, and some kind of warnings to be provided if some obstructions are there. So these are known as miscellaneous signals or indicators. First one is the caution indicator. When the track is under repairs, the driver should be cautious to reduce the speed and be prepared to stop at any moment. So this can be indicated by a caution indicator signal. Then if the driver need to reduce the speed to a particular value, then that can be indicated by a speed indicator. Then if shunting operations are going on, then the shunting limit indicator can be used to mark the limit of shunting operations. Then next is the terminal signal. For example, already a speed indicator is given as say 10 km per hour is the speed at which the train can proceed. Then once if he crosses that segment, then we can show the terminal signal. So terminal signal, this signal shows that the driver can resume to the normal speed. So these are the various, there are many more are there, but these are the main miscellaneous signals or the indicators that we can see by the side of the track for controlling the movement of train.